Now let's turn our attention to the UK. The country got a new government in July. Britain's Labour Party returned to power after 14 long years. They were propelled to power thanks to their predecessors, the UK Conservative Party, also known as the Tories. The Tories gave Britain 5 prime ministers in 14 years. They brought about Brexit and effectively tanked the British economy under the country's shortest-serving Prime Minister, Liz Truss. You would remember this. Truss was Prime Minister for 49 days. Her shelf life was famously shorter than that of a lettuce. But now, after a few months of Labour rule, Truss is looking quite fresh. She has crawled out of the woodwork and says that things in Britain would have been better had she been in charge. Can you imagine? The Prime Minister who crushed the economy, who brought the pound to an all-time low, thinks that she would be doing a better job than the people in charge right now. That is the state of British politics and the dismay surrounding the new Labour government. It starts at the top with Prime Minister Keir Starmer. Starmer was not really a charismatic leader to start with, but he won the last election thanks to his opponents. Their mistakes propelled him to power because the British people were fed up with the Tories. But winning the election was just the opening act. The real job is actually governing. And in just about 80 days in charge, Keir Starmer has already disappointed and angered the public. Look at this opinion poll. It says Starmer is already less popular than his predecessor, Rishi Sunak. Sunak has a minus 25% approval rating. Not making this up. Minus 25% for Rishi Sunak. Most British people think he's terrible. But Keir Starmer's rating is minus 26, a point worse off than even Sunak. How did this happen? Just 80 odd days after Starmer trounced Sunak in the election. Well, 2 major factors are to blame. The first is a ridiculous scandal involving clothing donations. Keir Starmer was given clothing worth £16,200. His wife was also given about £5,000 worth of clothing. That's over $28,000 worth of clothes for the Starmers. You have to wonder, where do you draw the line between political donations and lavish, luxurious gifts? And remember, the Labour Party had promised to be responsible, that they wouldn't have parties and get into scandals like the Tories. So after all that preaching, the clothing donations were in poor taste. Keir Starmer is being pulled up for accepting the clothes and then failing to disclose them. Not exactly a good look. And it wasn't just Starmer. His Deputy Prime Minister, Angela Rayner, and his Chancellor, Rachel Reeves, did this too. They both took thousands of pounds worth of free clothing from donors, and this has led to outrage in Britain. It has dampened the sentiment around the annual Labour Party conference. The conference is taking place in Liverpool. It was supposed to be a celebration, but this is how it started.
Welcome back to Liverpool. Welcome to conference, our biggest conference ever, and the first one in 15 years with Labour in government. And change has started. And today we're going to set out, and over the next coming days, how we're fixing the foundations and rebuilding our country. So enjoy conference. Very, very good to be here.
Should you have taken those freebies, Prime Minister?
So much for the celebrations. Over the last few days, the Labour Party has been trying to limit the damage. Keir Starmer has promised to stop accepting clothing donations. And the rest of the party has been trying to get the focus back on their message. But that is also a problem, because their message is also unpopular. Starmer wants to fix things, but he says things will get worse before they get better. He says rebuilding Britain will mean making tough choices, and one of those choices is apparently letting pensioners freeze. The UK has been suffering from a cost of living crisis for years, but there was some small relief for pensioners. They would be given a winter fuel payment by the government, a small allowance to spend on extra heating costs in the winter. But now the Labour government has decided to restrict this allowance. It will only go to pensioners who can prove that they need the money. The move is expected to save the government about £1.4 billion annually by stopping payments to about 10 million pensioners. The plan has led to an outcry, and it's one of the reasons for Starmer's dwindling popularity. This, together with the clothing donation scandal, has tanked his ratings, leaving him more unpopular than Rishi Sunak and the Tories. The Labour Party's honeymoon period is already over. They will need to win public confidence back, because sooner or later, public anger will make itself felt as Sunak, Truss and all the others know all too well.